Hello, good afternoon. My name is Pedro Tadeu, and cooperating with my colleague Carlos Brigas, we are here in EduEmer to present the teaching and learning process with virtual reality, the example of thinglink. First of all, we need to thank you to the Cátedra de Educación en Tecnologías, Emergentes, Gamificación, Inteligencia Artificial. And while I was talking about before, me and my colleague, we belong to the Center for Studies in Education and Innovation from the Superior School of Education, Communication and Sports from the Polytechnic of Guarda. People live in a technological age, and this is not new for any one of us. Connecting with this technical age, we have the critical thinking that drives nowadays the world. But besides driving the world, it opens different types of literacy in the world, like the information literacy, the media literacy, and of course the ICT, the information communication technology literacy. So this literacy is so important, and it's very, very important nowadays. Due to the enormous amount of information that we have, it's very important to know how to choose the proper information nowadays. So the Web 2.0 had changed the way that we are communicating right now in the society, the way that we are learning right now in education inside of our schools, the way that we are teaching right now as teachers, as educators in schools, and of course the way that we are working right now with the help of, even if we didn't notice, with the Web 2.0. But it's important to look back and to see a little bit and to stop and to see how we are learning today. Most of the technologies that are designed to aid learning have been aimed at enabling access to the information, like facts and observations about the world that surrounds us. But before computers, this type of information reaches to us to the powerful tool that help us to retain most of these facts. So we call it books. And actually, before the computers that can give us the possibility to reach a lot of information, we are using books. So the digital technology, books are being turned into e-books right now. And the modern search engines make fact-finding really easy for us and for the students. With just few clicks, we are able to discover lots of different answers to the same questions, and of course to many questions that we or the students have. To check this, we have totally different range of tools at our disposal, like the instructional tools, the content development tools, the social tools that most of the students know and use a lot, and personal tools. So we talk about the IT, that it's important. Yes, it's important, but the current approach to education have two different and significant problems. First, it's based on the same old format, the fact retention. And the other one is that a lot of people have difficulties comprehending the information that surrounds us. So the teaching methods on the first, the fact retention, are focused on providing facts. However, having access to and consuming a lot of information isn't the same of learning. Being informed isn't the same of being educated. Regarding the second part, the difficulties by comprehending the information, there's too much information nowadays, and this too much information is received in a short period of time, and of course can really easily overwhelm the students and the people. The result of this is that the students become more bored, disengaged, and usually they are not sure why they are learning about the topic in the first place. So that's why we bring you the virtual reality learning. So the VR allows the students to experience destinations, for instance, from across the world, without ever having to leave the classroom that they are into. Also, the VR refers to interactive content, and here we can talk about images or videos, that enables the viewer or the learner or the student to explore 360 degrees of the same scene. Inside of the category of VR education, we can have virtual field trips, high-tech training, internships, and all of them have different specifications. Also, we can talk about the group learning and the distance learning. Regarding the last one, the distance learning, the VR allows us to bridge the gap between the educator and the learner. With the VR, the distance learning tools can put educators and students together in the same room, with digital representations of themselves, a kind of teleporting to the VR world and guided through this world. Actually, during the last years and the pandemic situation, there are lots of different situations that the VR was used to bring together the people in the same room in such a way that they can be learning, teaching, listened together. But one of the questions that we have here is why the VR is so beneficial in education. Well, we can state a few properties that make the VR important in education. First, the better sense of place. When students read about something, they often want to experience it. With VR, they aren't limited to the word descriptions or even to the book illustrations. They can even explore the topic and see how the things are put together. Another important aspect, learning by doing. It's a well-known fact that people learn best while they are doing something. However, if you inspect the modern education that we have, you will see how little learning actually happens by doing the things. So students are focused on reading instructions rather than using it. So VR can give a hand in here. So provides an experience to the instruction. And with the VR education, learners are inspired to do it by themselves. So students have the opportunity to learn by doing, rather to be passively reading the situations. Another important aspect, the emotional reaction that brings from the VR. The visceral reactions to what an experience are fundamental to forming the different memories that we can have later. And the VR in education makes it very easy to engage students the whole time that makes the experience. So this can bring experience or memorable experience to the students. Another important aspect is the developing of creativity. With the VR in education, it's useful not only for the content consumption, but it's also great for content creation. By giving students the powerful tools such as still brush, for instance, to help them boost their creativity in this new world. The visual learning is another important aspect. There are a lot of people that are visual learners, and this means that the VR is really helpful for this group of learners. Instead of reading something about it, we can see the things and we can learn about it, being able to visualize the complex functions or even different kinds of mechanisms that can make the process of education being simple and easier for the learner. So, how can VR help students? Well, the VR can help students to learn better through the experience that brings to their own hands. The VR has the ability to inspire the students. The VR sparks imagination and encourages creative thinking on students. The VR in education promotes peer interaction, the socialization that is becoming so important in the 21st century. Another important thing that we just stated before, it engages the students on the experience. It provides realistic, for instance, travel experience for the most of the students that they can even think of it or have the chance to do this type of travel experience. And the VR is also inclusive inside of the classroom. Every student gets the same opportunity to enjoy the experience. Unlike traditional school trips that can be too expensive, for instance, for parents or too impractical for their own children, VR is a good option to bring students into inclusive experiences. VR offers memorable education experience. Long after the VR has finished, students remember the experience and are eager to do it and to test it again in future lessons. These are a few examples of some boxes that can be used as VR assets in the classroom. Of course, we can start in very common ones with carton, like we see on the left corner, on the downside. But of course, we can have totally different ones, much more complex, and combine the sounds and a part of the image experience. And then we come to the thinglink example that can be used in virtual reality. The thinglink example or the thinglink program platform. It's an online platform that allows to create interactive images with links. We upload to our account the photos, the videos, could be in 2 dimensions or 360 degrees, applying to this image information that we want to have it. So there is a possibility of making sequences of image, for instance, jumping from one to the other, or even create a path or a stream to using several images, in which we can integrate different maps, graphics, annotations, videos, and other images, even working with the same object that we are using. So the emphasis is placed on images and not the text that is used. So like I said before, it's an online platform that can create interactive images. And of course, we can use on various devices like computer, tablet, even smartphones. It can be very useful for contents like mathematics, history, geography, English, mother languages, among others. It always depends on the creativity of the teacher and the author that is producing the content with the use of thinglink. Allows incorporation of 360-degree photographs in the VR environments. There are a few examples I can see here. We stand on the brink of a technological revolution that will fundamentally alter the way we live, work, and relate to one another. And it's our opinion that the education should take advantage of this new reality, and of course take advantage of the new technologies that we have it at our disposal. The VR combined with, for instance, a platform like thinglink will help us to develop different ways of teaching, different ways of learning in self-education. Finally, we thank you, and of course we thank to EduEmer for the opportunity to be here on this first Congreso International of Educación, Empresa y Tecnologías Emergentes en la Sociedad Actual. Nosotros hablamos un poquito en inglés, pero también podemos ahora hablar un poquito de castellano, hablando de la importancia de las nuevas tecnologías, en este caso, la importancia de la realidad virtual conectada con la educación. Nosotros tenemos que aprovechar toda la importancia que la realidad virtual puede tener dentro del espacio de la clase. Será muy importante hoy en día trabajarnos lado a lado con la parte de las nuevas tecnologías y dentro de la educación. Muchas gracias por esta oportunidad y muchas gracias, EduEmer.